A game where results is what determines the fate of the team. It's easy to look at the last 4 games and say we are winless, and it's a reality, it's a fact. But if you look deep inside those games, you will say we did not deserve to lose against TS Galaxy. We did not deserve to lose against Amazulu. We did not deserve to lose even against Pirates. And we did not deserve at all to lose against Marumo. So, me as a coach looking at the process, I'm saying we have learned our lessons. Let's see whether we will grow in the second round or which direction we are going to take. But where I'm sitting, I'm seeing a lot of positives than negatives.
Coach, I want to take you back to what we just spoke about after this point here. That, you know, when we look at the previous AFCON, it was dominated by Sundowns, and then now we said it's because Pirates are introducing many players from South Africa. Now the question comes then, because at Sundowns you signed many players both locally. Was that the thing that you were fighting for, to ensure that there is a representation of Sundowns that is dominating from the national team? And also just to go forward, of course we saw the set part of the ban, and if you coach you don't want to answer that, I won't understand. We could talk about competition, that we're going to increase the competition in the January transfer window. Where are we in terms of the ban? Has the club here the ban? Anything like that?
Sorry, coach. Can you not touch on the ban? Thank you.
No, man. We have signed too many players. I did not even want to add any players for this next window because I'm focusing on preparing this group. It's a big group, and I'm excited from what I've seen. What was the first question?
First one was we talk about in the previous AFCON, Sundowns dominated players, and now it's Pirates. Was that one thing that when we were at Sundowns, we were trying to maintain that there is a huge representation of Sundowns, because we are also doing very well in Africa, that you must have domination of Sundowns also to have the national team players of local?
You know, I think because the time I was there, it was one of the mandates from the boss. We wanted Sundowns to be able to help national teams as well, from youth national teams to the senior national teams, and Sundowns always had good presentation there. But I think of late, they have not recruited much in terms of the South African players, maybe because specifically they are focusing on decisive positions. You know, when you lose a player like Lucas, you want to try and say, can you get 2 or 3 more players that can plug that gap, that maybe are at that level. And other teams are also strengthening themselves. Because I don't want to lie and say Sundowns did not strengthen the team better from where they were last season. I think they've done exceptionally well. But unfortunately, that strengthening was mainly from players from outside. You know, the 2 players, Resinho and Nuno Santos, are big additions in that team. And maybe they are going to help the team even in the Champions League. But unfortunately, you've got Izwane that is just coming back from injury. You've got a Tapelo who's also been injured a lot. Even Obas has not played too many matches. Then
Mvala is out.
Mvala is not been playing at all in that central defense. And they have also not been doing exceptionally well, to be honest. And that compounds the issue on Hugo, who he brings in the team, because there are players that are playing regularly for their teams like Ndamane at TS Galaxy, Kabini at Sekukune, and he wants to try and have players that are playing, and it makes sense to bring players that are playing in their teams than to force matters with players that have not had enough game time, and also players that are not getting younger.
Coach, and like on the last, you've seen it all in football. In many years, you've had some lessons. What has you learned in 2025? How can you reflect to this year as Coach Manqoba and about South African football as a whole, as someone who works in Africa as well? How can you reflect to 2025?
I'm a little bit worried with how we approach football matches in the PSL. And I'm not going to mention names, but I'm a little bit worried that we have a Pirates team that is really trying to be progressive and trying to do things and look at football probably in a much broader perspective than the Pirates of old, because the Pirates of old was only dangerous in counter-attacks and break-attacks. But when you look at the Pirates that they have now, it has got a lot of facets and signs that they are really progressing as a good team, and I think they also have a very good depth. Sundowns, everybody has ruled Sundowns out for this season, but personally I'm still feeling that Sundowns is just going to get their mojo very soon. And they've recruited a very good team. The players that they've brought into the team, I think they are improving the team in many ways. Technically, I think they are even better in between the lines this year. But when you look further down, you have a TS Galaxy team that is progressive, that is really trying to come up, and exciting because they also have a lot of youngsters that are really asking questions even in the national team. You look at a team like Golden Arrows, they try things. They are trying to improve individual players to become household names. But I look at the broader PSL and I see the negativity that is growing, where we approach games hoping for teams to make mistakes without an initiative. And Arthur started the season quite well, and I'm worried that maybe it's other people putting him under pressure now to not to play expansive, and for a player like Extian not to start a game of today, because I think he's been one of their best players. And when you come to a match where you want to be a dominant force, because you are number 5 on the log, and you are pushing for the top 3. But you come to a match like this with a mentality to say, no, maybe let's sit back and react to that. That worries me, because I want teams like Amazulu, with these young boys that are willing to take risks, that are trying to learn from these things, because the second round is going to be completely different. I can promise you the second round of the season is going to be completely different for me, for all these other teams. And when you check the XGs of most teams in the PSL, you get worried that teams are not creating enough because they are reactive, they are not proactive. But I don't think this football will sustain itself, because sometimes it's too obvious for people and everybody to see that if you can deal with 1, 2, 3, and 4, you will do better. So I would love to see teams being expansive a little bit, because we can't depend on Pirates and Sundowns to produce players for the national team. We need to have players in almost 6-7 teams that are contesting to improve the national team, because if there is a collapse at one team, then the other will come. And as it is now, you look at the team that Hugo has chosen, you've got Pirates more than Sundowns. And I can't blame him, because it's the reality. People will say this and that and that and that, but the reality of the matter is Pirates has got a lot of local players. And Sundowns does not have local players. In the starting lineup of Sundowns, you know now that you've got 5 or 6 players that are not eligible to play for Bafana Bafana, and that's where now this thing is taking a different direction. And other teams are invested in older players, and it becomes very difficult to make sure that the pipeline for the national team is consistent in giving us what we need going forward. So I just hope, because I think Kevin, in my opinion, is still doing well at Devon City. And he has introduced a lot of youngsters that are playing well, that did very well even in the NFT. And their position on the log for a team that is coming from the NFT is very good. And I wonder what's going to happen next from there, because chances are that if they are not excited with what he was doing, then the question is, do they want to be progressive and play expansive, or do they want somebody that is going to give them better percentages of getting into the box? You know. So, but I'm not judging any team. I'm just giving you my view of how I see the PSL this season, because that shift now that is shifting towards Pirates, because Pirates is having a lot of local players and a lot of younger local players. If you look at Moremi, you look at Apolis, you look at Manqoba, you look at Butuma, you look at Mbule, you look at Nemtajela, you look at Mbata, you can, the list is endless of players that are going to fit the national team. Unlike what we've always been used to, that Chiefs will fit the national team, Sundowns will fit the national team, Pirates will fit the national team, and Golden Arrows fed the national team. For the World Cup, Golden Arrows had probably 3 players in that team that have been from Arrows, if you also count Tikhashwa was coming from here. So are we still continuing in that direction? And if we are not continuing in that direction, we are going to be excited and be disappointed very quickly, maybe after 2 or 3 years, and maybe depend on one team.